Hello everyone, my name is Nejc Podkoritnik and I'm a student at the Faculty of Logistics from Slovenia. And today I will present you a research article entitled Impact of the COVID-19 Pandemic and the Russian-Ukrainian War on the European Union's Wheat Supply. On the presentation, you can see a picture of all three authors. On the left side is my picture. In the middle is a picture of a student and also my classmate Alen Knez. And on the right side is a picture of teaching assistant Nena Orel Šanko. Here we have short biographies of the authors. This year, Alen and I are both finishing our undergraduate studies at the Faculty of Logistics of University of Maribor and are planning to enroll in master's degree at the same faculty. On the other hand, Nena Orel Šanko is employed as a teaching assistant at the Faculty of Logistics, and at the same faculty she is also studying for doctoral study program in systems logistics. The COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian-Ukrainian war have both caused major disruptions in global food supply chains, heavily affecting the European Union's wheat supply. We know that wheat plays a crucial role in global food security and market stability, and that it is essential for direct consumption, livestock feed, and various industrial uses. The stability of wheat supply chains is therefore vital for maintaining economic and agricultural stability. The European Union, being one of the largest producers and also consumers of wheat, has been directly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian-Ukrainian war. These events have highlighted the European Union's vulnerability to global disruptions and the need to understand their specific impacts on the wheat supply within the region. And now we will proceed with a brief presentation of the theoretical background of the topic. Wheat is an essential crop globally, with varieties such as common wheat, durum wheat, and spike wheat playing significant roles in our diet. Common wheat, which accounts for 95% of production, and durum wheat, adapted for pasta, highlights the crop's diversity. Despite having a lower protein content than some other foods, wheat's amino acid ratio and nutrient content make it highly beneficial. Historically, wheat production has seen a significant rise due to advancements in agricultural techniques, increasing average yield of wheat from 1.2 tons per hectare in 1960s to 3.1 tons per hectare in 2009. These advancements has not only boosted production, but also enhanced the efficiency and sustainability of wheat farming. The continuous improvement in wheat production techniques highlights the crop's critical role in global food security and economic stability. The importance of wheat becomes even more apparent when considering the impact of global crises such as COVID-19 pandemic. Declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization on March 11, 2020, COVID-19 caused widespread disruption, leading to over 2 million deaths in Europe alone. Measures like movement restrictions and social distancing, while necessary to curb the virus's spread, had profound economic impacts. The agricultural sector showed resilience with only a minor reduction in work volume, but the transport sector faced a significant 20% drop. The pandemic also led to changes in energy consumption, increased digitalization, and highlighted vulnerabilities in global systems. This disruption emphasized the need for robust strategies to mitigate the effect of such crises on essential food supplies like wheat. The Russian-Ukrainian War, which began in February 2022, further compounded global instability. This conflict, rooted in geopolitical tensions and Ukraine's aspirations to join NATO, has led to severe military engagements and significant international sanctions against Russia. The economic and humanitarian consequences have been devastating, with over 1 million people fleeing Ukraine within the first week of the invasion, and economic damage in Ukraine estimated at $546.9 billion by March 2022. The war has not only affected immediate regions involved, but also had far-reaching implications for global stability and economic conditions. This ongoing conflict underscores the interconnectedness of global politics, economics, security, and highlights the critical need for strategies to support affected populations and ensure regional and global stability. The purpose of our research was to investigate the specific impacts of the Covid-19 pandemic and the Russian-Ukrainian war on the European Union's wheat supply. By examining this crisis through the lens of price and quantity indicators, the research aims to provide a detailed understanding of how these global events have influenced the wheat production, consumption, availability, prices, and export dynamics within the EU. So, objectives of the research were to first of all analyze the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on wheat production, consumption, availability, and prices in the European Union. Then also to assess the impact of the Russian-Ukrainian war on Ukraine's wheat export volumes and world wheat prices. And at the end, to compare the relative impacts of the pandemic and the war on EU's wheat supply. Based on our objectives, we also have two research questions. First was how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected the wheat production, consumption, availability, and price in the European Union? And the second question was, how did the Russian-Ukrainian war affect the dynamics of wheat export in the Ukraine and the world wheat prices? And how did these changes affect the wheat supply in the European Union? Our study began with an extensive review of existing research and secondary data sources, ensuring a strong foundation of our investigation. We conducted a systematic search and analysis of relevant literature available up to December 2023 in major bibliographic databases such as Web of Science, COBISS, and Google Scholar. This comprehensive review allowed us to extract key parameters and indicators relevant to wheat supply in the European Union. Furthermore, we scrutinized freely available statistical data from the reputable sources like the European Statistical Database, Eurostat, along with additional data from the Statista and United Nations statistical databases. Our methodology included synthesizing information and categorizing essential supply indicators based on the secondary data obtained from existing literature. For our analysis, we focus on the market price and quantity of wheat in the European Union as primary indicators, which were presented using various graphic displays to enhance the clarity and impact of our findings. We found out that during the pandemic, supply chains faced two major issues: inconsistent restrictions across the countries and the unpredictability of these restrictions. These caused significant disruptions. And on the other hand, the Russian invasion, however, brought an immediate and severe impact, leading to a 39% increase in food procurement costs. This period has been one of the most volatile for global food security in decades. If we now focus on the impact of these two events on wheat quantities in the European Union, we see that in early 2020, there was a notable reduction in wheat stocks due to the pandemic. This trend continued until the end of 2022, when stocks increased significantly and returned to pre-pandemic levels. Interestingly, this increase coincided with the beginning of the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. During the pandemic, we also observed an increase in wheat exports from the European Union, while imports remained stable. However, in 2023, wheat imports into the European Union doubled compared to the previous year. This change in the volume of wheat imports into the European Union was mainly a result of preventive measures and a response to the restrictions of wheat exports from the Ukraine during the first 4 months of the war until the Black Sea Grain Initiative. Despite these challenges, the European Union later managed to stabilize the supply of wheat. Moving on to wheat prices, we found that prices remained relatively stable during the pandemic. However, with the offset of Russian invasion, wheat prices soared by 58% in May 2022 compared to March 2021. In order to prevent this volatility, solidary corridors for export of wheat and other grains from Ukraine were established for this purpose. But despite efforts to stabilize wheat prices, fluctuation continued due to the uncertainty surrounding the Black Sea Grain Initiative. When Russia withdrew from the initiative in July 2023, prices rose slightly, but the impact was smaller compared to the initial months of the war. This indicates that while the initiative helped, the wheat market remains sensitive to geopolitical events. During the Covid-19 pandemic, the European Union witnessed a substantial reduction in wheat stocks, reflecting the significant impact on wheat supply. Despite this, grain imports into the European Union increased, highlighting the region's adaptability and the global interconnectedness of food supply chains. However, the offset of the Russian-Ukrainian war brought a new set of challenges, primarily affecting wheat prices rather than quantities. The war led to a 25% increase in the wheat price index within the 2 months, largely due to a Russian blockade of Ukrainian exports. The Black Sea Grain Initiative between Russia, Turkey, and the UN helped stabilize prices temporarily. This research underscores the dual impact of these two crises on the European Union's wheat supply chain, with the pandemic affecting stock levels and the war influencing market prices. The implications of these disruptions are profound. The pandemic led to a notable reduction in wheat availability and consumption within the European Union. Interestingly, while the market prices of wheat remained stable during the pandemic, the onset of the war introduced significant volatility, highlighting the different nature of these crises. The increased dependence on imports during the periods emphasized the need for more resilient and adaptable supply chain strategies to mitigate the impact of such disruptions. Ensuring stable and secure food supply chains is crucial for the European Union, given its substantial role in global wheat production and consumption. Future research should broaden its scope to explore the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian-Ukrainian war on the entire food market within the European Union. This includes examining various indicators such as export and import volumes, processing capacities, storage facilities, and price fluctuations. Additionally, conducting scenario simulations of potential future crises can provide valuable insights into the possible outcomes and necessary preparations. Developing strategic recommendations based on these studies will be essential for enhancing the resilience of food supply chains, ensuring they can withstand and quickly recover from such significant disruptions. That's everything from me, and thank you for your attention.